So what I'll do the intro, minute silence, then I'll go through the team. Might be a bit cramped. I'm just here to give some very special comments and pick up any changes. I need to say things like it's a ball, it's just doesn't catch it as clean as he wants.
Testing 1 2 3. Here we go. Testing
1 2 3 1 2 3
1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Is yours on your lanyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is yours on your lanyard in your jacket or
Outside.
oh, outside? So it's
Sounds okay. Not
Sounds
too far
fine.
down.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Leave it.
Oh wait, they are wearing a different kit. That's not blue. Black.
It is 2017 remastered. Dandenong City
and South Melbourne meet in the 7th round of the Dockerty Cup, 1 round away from Australian Cup qualification. And when it was these two 8 years ago at this stage of the competition, it was one of the great fight backs you will ever see. Dandenong City 4-1 up, and they lost 5-2 or 5-4 rather, with some heroics from Milos Lujic. 8 years later, Dandenong City will play this game on their turf. Will they play it on their terms? It is Dandenong City and South Melbourne in the final round of preliminary before the semi-finals of the Dockerty Cup, as we head to a minute's silence out of the middle from the Frank Hahn Soccer Complex. So South Melbourne, now in the southeast of Melbourne.
City here went to penalties. South Melbourne needed a late goal to beat Pascoe Vale, and that late comeback from South Melbourne in the Cup 8 years ago will still weigh heavy on both of these clubs' minds. How Dandenong City would like to right those wrongs this evening, how South Melbourne would like to go storming into the next round. It is cup holders against cup hopefuls. It will be a truly terrific, tantalising night of cup action.
Certainly should be. Could be 90, could be 120, could be penalties. What a prospect we have in store, you would think, to the teams. And Dandenong City make 5 changes from their last league clash against Hume City. Matt Marram, Corey Sewell, Will Bauer, Brad Plant and Diego Cuba all come in. Clark, Webster, Lambada-Reedis, Chesnick and Mustafa all out to South Melbourne. It's 3 changes from their most recent league clash against St Albans. In come Ethan O'Sullivan for his first South Melbourne start. Andy Brennan and Charlie Leach are also in. Jack Painter, Andrews, Rob Harding and Sam Franku are the 3 to drop out from that 11. And we are away. Dandenong City from right to left in this first half. South Melbourne from left to right. The navy blue number. A bit of a change for South Melbourne than what we traditionally see. Will it be the same old South in terms of the clutch gene that they usually show in these types of ties?
It's been a physical and frantic opening couple of seconds to this game. South Melbourne not wanting to let Dandenong City breathe, a complete opposite from when these two met in the league earlier this season. Dandenong City were able to play the football that night at a different ground in different conditions. South Melbourne will be the ones looking to make a faster start, looking to get the hosts under pressure and really stake their claims in this cup tie.
Mentioned that Brad Plant was into the starting 11 for Dandenong City. He scored 2 in his last 2 against South, so maybe that played into Nick Tolios' thinking when selecting the team. Diego Cuba for Kenny Athieu. Kim prodding it out wide. And there it was. The aforementioned Brad Plant to help buy his team a throw. And the play quickly to run through the 11s in full. Matt Marum is in goal for Dandenong City. Corey Sewell, Tommy Anacopoulos, Jackson Leno, Nathan Hancock, the back four. Midfield three of Will Bauer, Jamie Latham and Danny Kim, with the front three of Diego Cuba, Kenny Nephew and Brad Plant. So he's sent long into the middle towards the front post. Hugh crosses body, shouts for handball. It's not fully cleared. Jackson Leno trying to go outside of the foot. Couldn't get the purchase on it for South Melbourne. It is Harvey Lopez in goal. The back three by the looks of Jordan Lampard. Jake Marshall. And Marko Jankovic with the midfield four of Max Mikula, George Mells, Jack Pope and Charlie Leach. The front three of Ethan O'Sullivan, Noel Bernarda and Andy Brennan. Interesting team news from a South point of view. Going heavy at the back.
Certainly are, and I think on a night like this, away from home, that defensive reinsurance will be important in order to try and free up the players further forward, but also having those two wing-backs in a three-back system that comes into a five, it allows those two further forward to tuck inside and create those overloads where South Melbourne will be looking to punish Dandenong City just in those little pockets of space and in those channels.
Jake Marshall, the gold medal winner in the NPL Men's Victoria last season, the highest individual honour a player can win. And to win it from central defence is some feat. Sewell, former Melbourne Knight, playing in South Melbourne. This fixture maybe with some extra importance to him because of that. How could you need any more motivation than what you surely must have, given what is at stake for these two teams?
Just one really interesting thing to start with. When South Melbourne build up and when they look to start from the back, George Mells is the one dropping in deepest, sort of as that third centre half sometimes, in order to free up one of those fullbacks to drift further in. It's something that Dandenong City are happy to have nobody go with him, to have Atiyu still lead that press, but to have somebody with the creative ability of Mells drop in a lot deeper from the start is a good thing for South Melbourne. And if he starts to dictate the terms of this game, it might just force Dandenong City into a bit more aggressive of a press and a bit further up the pitch.
Referee Jock Quartermain trying to assert his influence early. First words of vehemence from the technical area from Nick Tolios. The last, I'm sure. Forward towards Kenny Atiyu, who was sweating on Jake Marshall's every move. Back to Harvey Lopez, just fine though. Mells for Mikula. Back with the former Chelsea and Southampton youngster. Throw the ball over the top and a great first time touch. Over towards the left-hand side. Here's the chance for South. Getting forward was Jordan Lampard. It's behind. South Melbourne corner as they make their first real foray forward in this one.
Terrific ball from Mells into the channel, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. Dandenong City just sitting off, allowing him to start to dictate the terms of the game. You can't afford to give somebody of that quality time and space, because it gave South an opportunity then to open Dandenong City up. They switched the play completely after that, and they've earned themselves their first corner and an opportunity to make Marum do some work.
Corner from the south left, sent in high, headed down. Marko Jankovic got something on it, and Matt Marum was fouled in there. South Melbourne for a split second may have thought they had the opener, but not to be, according to Jock Quartermain.
Maron comes and he doesn't quite get there. It's a dangerous one for the City keeper, who will have to judge it to perfection tonight. They got away with one on that occasion.
There's Matt Maron. Hasn't seen any play in the league, but has been an ever-present in the Cup. This is 4th appearance on 4 possible games in this competition. It's over towards Ethan O'Sullivan. What a proud moment this is for him. First South Melbourne starts. What a big game for him too. Leach. Trying to roll it forward, but it was cut out. And Kim on it. And City happy to keep the ball. He's trying to step through. Took a glance back at Max Mikkola. Nothing more in that as of now. Maybe one to watch for the rest of the evening, perhaps. Jankovic, and it's turned smartly around the corner from Noel Bernarda. First one to season with Dandenong City's crosstown rivals in the Dandenong Thunder. Made his name in Victorian football there. Taken out smartly by O'Sullivan, who rolls it forwards on towards Pope. And to try and get it out of there and run out of room.
Brilliant from South Melbourne once again. They don't let Dandenong City breathe when they're trying to play out. And then once they get that ball forward, they get it into the channels quickly. Brilliant takedown from O'Sullivan. A lovely little clip towards Pope. But you see the pressure when they lose it, that hunger to win it back immediately is something that's given them the ability to put this Dandenong City side on the back foot and give themselves the better of the early opportunities.
An opportunity here for Ethan Sullivan to send this one in. It's looking like a long throw. He's queued that one up. It went the way up the first time of asking, and then well cleared by Latham. Melbourne the player down.
Ethan, come in. Calm down.
Marko Jankovic back up. Now Jackson Lino. Defender here at Dandenong City, having a good season. We saw that there was some involvement he had before, with things getting a little bit chippy. There is some feeling in this one early between these two clubs. Bobbled away from Lampard. Matthew trying to make the run in behind. Did he make his run a fraction too early? That's how it looked, and that's how it proved.
But that's where Atsu will be such a danger. When that South Melbourne line just drift up a little bit and there's a touch of room in behind for him to run into. If he can time that run well and get himself a yard, he can look to create opportunities. He can go alone or bring other players in. And with the pitch being a bit boggy, there's been a lot of rain about in the southeast today. It might just sit up for him and give him those opportunities in behind. And considering how well South Melbourne have kept the ball so far, that's where Dandenong City might be looking to have some joy.
And the game within the game starts to materialise. There'll be so much footballing brilliance on the pitch tonight, you would think, and I get the feeling this game to supplement that too. Mikkola to halfway, Plant to flick on, and Marshall to send high. Mikkola throwing in quickly down the line. Brennan giving chase, and getting there in the foot race against Giannakopoulos. It's sent in. That was the front post by Nathan Hancock. He was once on the books at South. Played in the Under-21s competition, but never a senior league game. How much might he prove against the team that signed him and then let him go without giving him a real run at senior level?
It's an interesting tussle, that one, between Plant and Ethan O'Sullivan. You can tell already they've already had a couple of words to one another. Talk about the game within the game. Those are two which will be going at it all night. O'Sullivan thought he might have had a small win pressing Plant into a dangerous situation, but then gives away the free kick and gives Dandenong City a chance to go forward.
Shots from Jackson Lino infield, a bit heavy. Just a quick tidbit on Ethan O'Sullivan. He coaches South Melbourne's under-12s team. So you'd think he'd have a lot of experience and patience. It might have to be exercised tonight, given how he's been the centrepiece of some words his way from people a lot older than 12, I might add. Although patience is a learned skill and can be applied wherever. Jankovic to halfway. Jankovic, who had some season, the South Australian, the mainstay for Dandenong City in the league. His team might be doing attacking here, but a good sliding challenge from Charlie Leach. Anything moving forward from Will Bauer. Jack Pope will try and get after this, and we'll get there ahead of Kim. Rolls it in field. Andy Brennan to send it towards the middle. Prodded across, but Leach couldn't quite pick out Bernarda. Is that sloppily given away? Mel's to pick it up. To shift it to the left. Play then from Charlie Leach. So now turn a Magic Man, able to find a teammate there.
Once again, it's Mel's making that driving run forward. He plays the ball over the top initially for Pope to give chase to. He then goes to support that attack. So at the moment, he's the player for South Melbourne that's taking control of this game and has allowed them to settle in on what could otherwise have been a bit of a hostile night at Frank Holohan.
Javi Lopez claimed that. Will Bauer happy to give him one for his troubles. There is action wherever you look here tonight. And we're only in the early embers. What a treat we'll have is what we're thinking. And what a treat we'll have if this is what's to come.
Either side are certainly pulling any punches early. And those embers are just slowly bubbling away. It will be important for everyone if they do start to simmer over, just to stop them from boiling. Tonight, as much as who plays the better football, it'll be about who can keep their cool and who can play the game instead of the occasion. Understanding how important this match is, how important it is for both teams' seasons, as not only progression in the Dockerty Cup, but a chance to go into the Australia Cup is on the line. Being able to manage that pressure and being able to manage emotions in that situation are going to be so important. And as you see already, just a couple of little sparks.
It's about playing the occasion. There's been a few occasions in this game where some of the product has left wanting a little bit, as evidenced by Nicholas' ball there over the top that he tried to feed through. Dandenong City provides some quality here. It's in towards Athieu at the front post. The back flick was clever. And Lopez involved. First time we've really seen him in action. Was able to divert that one away from goal, however much he knew about it.
Dandenong City just sprung into life as well. Yanakopoulos speared it wide to Latham. And that's a teasing, it's an inviting ball for Atayu at the near post. He doesn't quite get the connection on the header. Does well to react the quickest and turn that second ball goalwards. Lopez, like you said, did not know much about it, but he made a terrific save down low.
This game's starting to open up a little bit. Nicola. So over to the South Melbourne left. He's known for his long throws, Max Nicola, but he is capable of that and then some. And part of this move forward for South Melbourne. O'Sullivan will try and track that one down. Does he want to see the corner? He has. So there's the little win for Ethan O'Sullivan.
Great tenacity from the youngster. He does well to stop the easy out for Jackson Leno, realistically. He closes that touchline to let it trickle out for a goal kick and then forces Leno to do something with it by understanding he's got a barrier, and all it takes is the smallest touch. And Dandenong City go from being able to see one up for a goal kick to now having to defend the corner. And for a young guy who, in his first start for South Melbourne, has taken a bit from some of those Dandenong City players, that certainly will lift his confidence.
Max Nicola standing over this. Mel's waiting short if needed. He wasn't. It's sent in instead towards the back post. Hancock went up. The ball is headed clear. Lampard back with interest as it's central, but should be headed away by Jackson Leno. As far away as he would have wanted, and that clearance more definitive. Lopez looking wrong. Smartly done by Charlie Leach. Ball sent towards the back post. Nicola almost making something of it, but Jackson Leno able to prod it clear. Great challenge from Leach.
So late! That is shocking! That is shocking. He's come from behind you.
Treatment might come here.
That is shocking. Hey! Hey!
It's been a feisty opening few minutes, and that one there, it's just a late lunge. There's no malice in it. He's trying to play the ball, but it's just shifted quickly. Before he can get a meaningful touch on it, can Leach, and he has to take the man. But that is the pressure that South Melbourne are applying to this Dandenong City side at the moment. Maybe a bit overzealous on that occasion, but it won't thwart their efforts. Certainly heard what those of the touchline will make of it. Diego Cubas back to his feet. Might have to make his way to the side, but he seems all right.
It's the case that Nick Tolios was arguing his player was fouled, needed treatment, and will have to head off to provide the short-term numerical disadvantage. And towards Afiu. And trying the flick. Oh, sent it high. Yanakopoulos will let it run for Matt Marum. Played his football formerly at Rockdale, Illingdon, and the Boney Rig White Eagles in New South Wales across the state border. This probably the biggest game of football he's played in these parts.
Certainly is, since his trip south of the Murray. Was the penalty shootout hero last time as well, and you feel like something similar will be required tonight, as that's a late lunge.
Diego Cuba, the offender this time. Max Nicola going over. Yellow card coming out here for Diego Cuba. He's the first player booked tonight.
It's one of those, isn't it? He catches him late. It's another one where he just steals in a bit too quick to win it. Cuba catches him. It's not dangerous enough for a red. He does catch him a little bit late. It's not dangerously high. You can hear what those on the Dandenong City touchline make of that as well. Diego Cuba in the book now has to walk a tightrope till the end of this game. Dandenong City can't afford to go down to 10. Neither can on a night like this.
We talked about Diego Cuba having to walk the tightrope. He's had to do that on a number of occasions in this cup run. That's his third yellow card in this run. So he's no stranger to picking up a booking. No matter the talk around the card's already been produced and no discussion that follows. Brandishing of the card will change it, so much as Diego Cuba might protest his innocence.
He's certainly giving it a go to prove his innocence, Diego Cuba, but it wasn't awfully nasty, but it did look late. Where Dandenong City had a numerical advantage momentarily a couple minutes ago, it will be South Melbourne's turn, albeit with a free kick.
Dandenong City arguing the case that they thought Diego Cuba was the man fouled rather than the man fouling.
It's a 50-50, isn't it? Cuba, the main protest from the Dandenong City bench and the players is that Cuba was the one with the ball. But is his touch a bit too heavy to the point where he takes it away and invites that kind of challenge and then makes it a bit too late? Referee certainly thought so, but Diego Cuba in the book will have to be careful for the rest of this game.
He's giving it away. High ball, Bauer chesting it down. Another foul. Well, Bernardo all the way back. Don't usually see him that far away from the goal we're shooting at.
It's good defensive work from Bernardo, because South Melbourne were just caught a little bit out of shape on that free kick, having given it away, and then it's clumsy from Atayu to foul him in a position where he didn't really need to.
Brendan now down the South Melbourne left, down the inside left channel. Here's Pope. And back for Brennan, who will sweep it in. Needs a drink for Matt Marum. And any goalkeeper worth their salt, no matter how much recent football they've played, should be swallowing those, and Matt Marum did. Nicola and Diego Cuba in the vicinity of one another again. Jankovic out of play.
One thing that's changed from the Dandenong City setup from those first 5 or 10 minutes to now is that defensive shape has shifted from a 4-4-2, where they played two banks. It's now become a 4-3-3 and just giving that extra attacking option in order to apply that press. They've noted that South Melbourne will be looking to play out as much as possible, so they're trying to limit the options and the time that they have to do that.
And we expected before kick-off that it would be a 4-3-3. This, a more usual shape to one that they play in the league. 4-4-2, a bit of a dying formation in the game somewhat. Particularly to what we're used to, at least. Hancock got to be watchful of Bernardo. Got it away from him, but presented it to Mells. Leach. Brennan. So he was about to tee one up and then rolled it laterally instead. Got an errant one over the touchline and away.
Thought about it, didn't he, Andy Brennan, and it opened up for him momentarily. I think the door was closed just in the nick of time before he was about to take that shot on. But it's those wider players moving inside in this South Melbourne system at the moment, which is where Dandenong City haven't been able to handle them too well, creating those open pockets of space and just giving himself an extra yard.
Free kick will be taken again. Will Bauer took it quickly while the ball was still moving. Comes on a couple as this time. Right footed and high. The direction of Kenny Athieu, who had it prodded away from him. Glaze. South able to keep that one in play.
There's a lot of talk down on the touchline at the moment about the amount of contact that's being applied to Kenny Athieu whenever Dandenong City look to go long. You certainly saw his frustration on that occasion, where South Melbourne are just being physical enough without fouling him. They're pushing those boundaries early. They're just testing the limits of what they can do to hold up Athieu, such an important part of how Dandenong City set up from set pieces and how they go about building up too. And by limiting his ability to bring others into play by getting numbers around him and applying that contact, they're stopping a lot of what Dandenong City are trying to do at the source.
You sense that Kenny Athieu will be central if Dandenong City are to make their first foray into the national rounds of the Australia Cup. They were stopped at the final hurdle by South Melbourne in the game that we referenced right off the top. That famous game, the 5-4 win at Lakeside. One of 4 times that South Melbourne have previously accessed the national rounds of the Australia Cup and would be hoping to make it a 5th by the end of the night. They got through in 2015, 2017 was the year that they got past Dandenong City. 2021 they made the run to the semi-finals back in 2024.
There's a load of little spot fires going on at the moment, and the 4th official certainly hearing pleas and hearing protests from those in white, those in navy blue. Referees at the moment just keeping a little eye on these two teams who have got a history in this competition, as we've referenced, who have already played each other this season as well. So maybe just a couple of feelings left over from clashes gone by.
Plant on the swivel, out of play for a Dandenong City throw. This is one of many reminders that it's a thankless job being an official, isn't it? Particularly on a night like tonight. Fair play to those that do it. Opens up towards halfway. Kopoulous will go back to his goalkeeper. Bauer, did that strike the arm of Ethan O'Sullivan? Not according to those officials. Who wants more cop and earful?
Nothing quite doing, the officials think, on that one. It's Bauer's flick on. I don't think O'Sullivan knows a lot about it. His arms are down in a natural position. But another interesting thing, Bauer at the moment, when they're going forward, is moving further forward, but on the defensive end, when they're in transition, he drops deeper. So for someone who's basically running a right wing to almost right back role, or left wing to almost left back role at the moment in this side, whereas it was utilised strictly in an attacking sense last time round. So it shows the versatility that this Dandenong City side have got on display, and that they're starting to understand South Melbourne's setup.
We'll roll forward. Athieu tries to roll it in behind. Latham onside and in the box. Jamie Latham with a crucial kick of the football to put Dandenong City in front. There's the goal that breaks the deadlock. And these Dandenong City fans here in the southeast can celebrate. Their team are in front.
And they've been slowly getting into the game since the kick-off. South Melbourne dominated the ball early, but Dandenong City have slowly made it frustrating for them to play. They then get an opportunity to spring on the break. Atiyu breaks free. The timing of the ball and the run from Latham are absolutely perfect. He had an option centrally, but he kept his composure and he wrapped it into the far corner with conviction. It's a super goal for Dandenong City, and South Melbourne now have it all to do.
5th goal of the season all competition, 2nd in this cup run for Jamie Latham. Scored a 96th minute goal against the Goulburn Valley Suns in round 5 to make it 4-1 in that game. That game was already wrapped up by the time he found the back of the net that night. This goal feels as though it has so much more importance to it. And there is a long way to go. And even with the struggles that South Melbourne have had this season, you'd be foolish to count them out. What a moment it was, Bernarda. As South Melbourne searched for a response, he was looking for it back, but Giannakopoulos was in the road. Bauer. As they go forward again here, Dandenong City. Bauer releasing Latham. He could be in again here. The Welshman, Jamie Latham, looking for a quick fire double. It's parried away by Javi Lopez. And this is Jamie Latham's moment to show what he's all about.
He's just come to life, hasn't he? And so have Dandenong City. Bauer showing you the confidence a goal can give you. That's a superb run to drive through 3 or 4 and to spring that attack out of nowhere. Latham got himself free on the left-hand side, timed his run again perfectly. The ball is weighted wonderfully to find him. And he nearly wrong-footed Javi Lopez by trying to go high at his near post. Had to parry it into safety, but Dandenong City creating a couple of chances.
How similar was it to the run that led to the goal? Running on and receiving the ball. His team will be doing the defending here. Bernarda checking in field. And maybe a tough one, or tougher than it looked for Matt Marum. It pitched just in front of him, but he got his body behind it.
Always awkward for a goalkeeper when it bobbles just in front of you. Maybe not so much in seeing it trickle through, but certainly on the spillage. It can bounce anywhere. Marum does well just to claim it and keep it cool. Understand that he's got more time and he's got the space of nobody rushing on. And it's a big momentum swing at the moment. Dandenong City are galvanised by that goal. There's a lot more tenacity, but another interesting thing, all of the big opportunities so far have come from balls that have been weighted over the top, so it's showing that it will hold up for you and there will be space in behind in the channels or centrally tonight, and that might play into how both teams are looking to change their setup.
Forward towards Mikola. He tried to take it down into his path, didn't quite work for him, then looked back for O'Sullivan. He will concede the throw. Smart football there by Will Bauer. There is a man that Nick Tolos clearly likes, signed him for the Bentley Greens, and then Will Bauer then following him to Dandenong City. Marshall losing it. Athieu playing forwards, but kindly for Latham. Rolled on by Plants. Dandenong City building after scoring, not content to rest on their laurels.
And that's where they're so dangerous. When Atiyu wins that first ball and they're able to get the runners around him and off him, he then pings a ball into the feet of Plant. It's a terrific ball to split the defensive lines and just get South Melbourne on the back foot from there. Latham again brings it forward, and Bauer, he's had a brilliant few minutes, a bright couple of minutes. He's involved at both ends, and once again, unlucky not to get it in, but Dandenong City building.
Jackson Leno, he sent it in. Latham again! Flashes it wide. Another opportunity for Dandenong City's number 8. He's had a couple even after the goal that he hasn't been able to take.
And he just slides as he hits this one, which means he gets under it and gets it too high. But it's a superb ball to find him. Jamie Latham just doesn't take it as clean as he wants to. It's a massive let-off for South Melbourne, who were completely carved open.
It's Dandenong City at the moment asking all the questions. Jackson Leno, Kim, Athieu, on for Bauer, who sent it in first time. Headed away and then flicked on further by Pope. Not much respite at all. That South Melbourne backline who are under the cosh.
You can see how dangerous Dandenong City look whenever Athieu just gets a yard and is able to clip those balls into the channel first time or is able to turn and go himself. He got a lot of contact early in this game. South Melbourne were trying to let him know they were there early, but now that he's been able to break away and been able just to get a couple of yards with Dandenong City's improvement and pushing South Melbourne deeper, you're seeing what a threat they are when they're able to play off Athieu.
Diego Cuba. Giving that one away rather cheaply to Jordan Lampard. Brennan. Played the ball and then ran on. That'll be covered off well by Danny Kim. Few to win the header. Intercepting the South Melbourne header back, but couldn't then work her way through. Leach, Mells, Nicola, face to face with Jackson Leno. He swings one in, and all in Dandenong City white. Happy to watch that one go.
It's not a bad idea from Nicola to swing that ball in. It's just a touch too heavy for Bernarda. But it's lovely play between Leach and O'Sullivan just to get South Melbourne through that first press and to get themselves a yard to work it wide. Nicola does the right thing by cutting inside onto that left foot, waited for O'Sullivan as an overlap to use him as a decoy. The ball just a bit too heavy, but when they do get the chance to shift it inside, that's where they can create some chances. Dandenong City happy to see that one out.
Nicola. Tries to shift it in field. Dandenong City have it back. Latham looking for Kenny Athieu, who is just offside. That looked a close one.
Good eye. The linesman must have had a very good eye over on that far side. And it's those split-second moments for Kenny Athieu. Just went a fraction too early, otherwise he was in. As Will Bauer bundles Ethan O'Sullivan to the ground.
Welcome to the rigours of starting senior football, Ethan O'Sullivan. Hasn't he been battered and bruised? It's swept in, inadvertently flicked on. Maram had to be quick and was.
Smart goalkeeping from Maran. He understood the danger, knew that Bernardo was lurking. It's that split-second decision. He knows he has to go, commits himself well, times it perfectly though. That's the important thing, and then doesn't let it spill.
Into the final 5 of the 45. Here from Frank Holohan. Jamie Latham's goal the difference so far. Plenty of time to change the script. The Spaniard in Javi Lopez. Also formerly of Bentley. Like Will Bauer, but probably different times. Bernarda to clip it in. Away by Hancock. Lampard towards Brennan. And that's been the story of the half of South Melbourne, really. Balls forward that have been a little bit off kilter.
It's been frustrating for them, hasn't it? And that ball has kind of summed up, as you said, their first half. The end product hasn't quite been there just yet. They've looked good in the build-up, they've looked confident in the build-up. But a big reason those balls haven't quite made their mark is because of the way that this Dandenong City defensive shape is changing. So it started as a 4-4-2, went out of possession, it then shifted to a 4-3-3. It's now gone with that same back four, but it's a midfield three shielding the channels. And then they go on with Atiyu as the lone, but you see Latham or Plant almost acting as a secondary striker to try and cut out those initial first balls that South Melbourne are trying to play.
Bernarda kept it from Kim. Now to help it on towards Leach. There was Jackson Lino. He's called to drive, and drive he will. Bauer to his left. O'Sullivan watching him. Jackson Lino kept making the run. The ball into the middle. An inviting one. And nodded behind by Jackson Lampard. Jordan Lampard even. It was Jackson Lino who put the teasing ball in. And he's done that a number of times now.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Jackson Lino. First to cut it out in a crucial position, then to drive, but to continue his run and give Bauer an option. And having gone essentially from one end of the pitch to the other, to pick out a ball like that, which is so dangerous in that corridor where Lopez can't come for it, it causes a problem for South Melbourne. Lampard there to deal with it.
Corner sent in towards Athieu. Hancock is there. He drilled it back in. Shouts of a handball will fall on deaf ears. South will move it away. Brennan, is he having his shirt pulled? Certainly was there. Jackson Lino into the book.
That one's a bit stonewall from Jackson Lino.
You don't say.
Had more than one go at Andy Brennan's shirt, didn't he? And it's not the first time that those two have been entangled in this first half. But now that's two for Dandenong City, who will have to walk a tightrope, and Jackson Lino, another one who's been booked in the cup this season.
That's now his second card in this cup run. Charlie Leach, can South Melbourne strike back for the break? Brennan, central. Looks like we're moving into 2 added minutes. All bouncing, Mikola taking it down. Ball sent back in, headed away by Hancock. And Latham headed away. Played by Yankovic to keep it down. And a free kick there for Dandenong City. Will alleviate the building pressure on their defence. And to be fair, every question they've been posed with, they've answered with a level of composure in this first half so far.
They have. They've looked compact, haven't they? And been disciplined in their defensive shape. They've been rigid, they've been difficult to break down. And for South Melbourne, when you have a moment like that where you feel that pressure building, you can't give away a free kick and give Dandenong City an easy out ball like that. You've got to try and find a way just to limit the options and force them to clear it and then go again.
Confirmation of those 2 minutes at the end of this first half in terms of added time. Bernarda got to that one. All swept in and then flicked on. Pope getting underneath it. Man able to make the save. A decent ball though from Jordan Lampard.
Great ball from Jordan Lampard. First time he's really been able to deliver something into the box tonight, and it's not a bad ball. It's maybe just a fraction behind Pope, so he has to readjust himself to try and turn it in. And an easy one for Maram in the end.
Talking of easy ones, that's another easy card to give for Jock Quartermain. This one in the direction of Andy Brennan for pulling back Jackson Lino. It's a little bit of paperwork for the man in the middle to do late in his first half. Quartermain laying down the law at the edge of the box. Diego Cuba to sweep this in. The first time asking Latham on the volley. Either way, it's now time enough for Dandenong City to grab a second before the interval. Sewell. Lampard there. This will be clearance blocked by Latham, who wanted to make even more of it. And that expertly done by Jordan Lampard to shield that one over.
He did excellently, Lampard, to stop Latham, who was really looking to go there, but they'll run out of time. Dandenong City to try and add a second. But Ollie, it's been a terrific first half, hasn't it?
It has. And Dandenong City are halfway there. Halfway to the national rounds of the Australia Cup for the first time in their club's history. Since the competition came back in 2014, Dandenong City have not graced the national stages. They are on the way there. South Melbourne have given as good as they've got in some cases, but not in the goal-scoring department. Jamie Latham's goal, a shot driven low into the bottom corner, separates the two sides. And with at least 45 minutes to play, it is Dandenong City in the driving seat. Half-time here from Frank Hahn. It's Dandenong City 1, South Melbourne 0.
I'll be fair with you. That one. I thought you said this. You sounded good. Too hard on yourself.
Welcome back to Frank Hahn Soccer Complex, where it is the hometown Dandenong City on the verge of the Dockerty Cup semi-finals and perhaps more importantly the Australia Cup round of 32. They lead South Melbourne here by 1-0, a goal courtesy of Jamie Latham. And this scoreline, as happy as Dandenong City fans would be, is not the craziest tonight in Victorian football circles. We'll take you around the grounds in just a moment. Perhaps the most crazy scoreline is now a final one. Nunawading City have knocked out Hume by a score of 4-0 at home. So Nunawading City have punched their ticket into the Australia Cup round of 32 with a dominant win over Victorian top flight side Hume. Another top flight side is Heidelberg. They are currently taking care of business against Northcote City. They lead 1-0 there. Just past an hour gone in that one. And it looks as though Sinisa Kahadzic wasn't particularly entirely happy with what he saw in the first half, because South Melbourne are to make a half-time alteration as Oliver Walker-Peel and Ethan Rigg get you ready for the second half.
It was a cagey first half, very spiteful. Not a challenge being pulled, but how good is the Dockerty Cup? Nunawading City, what a night for them. Heidelberg doing enough at the moment against Northcote, and here Dandenong City 45 minutes away. We know what happened last time out at this ground in the Cup. 2 down against Brunswick City at half-time. They got themselves level, took it to extra time, went behind, found an equalizer again, and then won on penalties. Is there to be an equally as dramatic finish? Or will this one find its conclusion? Will we find a winner within 90?
It's a double switch here for South Melbourne. In fact, Andres Skopoulos and Lucas Inglese are both on here. Off Max Mikola. And also Jake Marshall as we get this second half underway. The changes.
Maybe a couple who will be needed at the weekend, wanting to freshen up some legs and get some new ideas into this South Melbourne side in this second half, if they are to find an equaliser, if they are to turn this game around, because Dandenong City, to their credit in the first half, defensively were very solid, they were rigid and they made life difficult for South Melbourne. So a new way of thinking and perhaps just trying to find a different way to unlock this Dandenong City side.
It's the South Melbourne side to be unlocked again here. Brad Plant has a good record against South Melbourne. On the ball here, trying to work a yard. He sent it over the top.
Not a bad effort from Brad Plant to start this second half. It's what Dandenong City will want to see more of from him. Driving his way inside, getting it onto that left foot. The shot was wide, but it's the danger that he will pose. Being able just to draw 2 or 3 players might free up the likes of Atayu, it might free up Latham and Barrow as well. So expect them to go more through Plant, who has scored in each of his last 2 games against South Melbourne,
including a winner at Lakeside last year, which was Dandenong City's first ever away league win over South Melbourne. He's on the ball again here. Matthew was trying to take over. The ball bobbled. And any chance went. Although using his feet, he didn't have too much to do with his hands in the first 45. One sent long, looking for Kenny Athieu. To Javi Lopez it goes. Kenny Athieu a little bit quiet. South Melbourne were trying everything they could in the first half to keep him quiet, and so far they've been successful in that regard, but then again Dandenong City are in front and that's what matters. It's over towards Skopoulos, one of the 2 half-time introductions. His first appearance of the season in all competitions. His cross was straight into the waiting arms of Matt Marum.
Nice easy one for Marum to start the second half. He was able to watch it all the way. Dandenong City crowded out that penalty area, but Skopoulos already is looking to be lively for South Melbourne. He's looking to create opportunities, cut his way back inside and just clip those balls in towards the back post. So you might be able to expect more of a South Melbourne onslaught down this left-hand side, trying to pack that back post and get the late runners involved if they are able to commit those numbers forward.
Plants. Latham. Matthew looking for the switch towards the back post. Bauer on the volley, stinging the palms of Lopez, who had to make a quick, smart save.
Fantastic football. Dandenong City, Plant and Latham worked themselves out of a tight situation wonderfully. Atiyu's switch was terrific. Bauer couldn't have caught that sweeter, and Javi Lopez, to his credit, it was hit hard, it swerved a little bit late, he pushed it wide for a corner. It's a good piece of goalkeeping.
Diego Cuba to swing this one in. Wicked delivery. Put away by Inglese to the edge of the box and then sent back in. Eventually sorted out as Brad Plants was looking for another against South Melbourne. He returns the 1-2 back to Giannakopoulos, who was held up. Brennan. To feed it forward. Kim was there. Plants sent sprawling. Brennan with close control. Trying to play for a throw to Dandenong City. South Melbourne looks as though they're going to their bench again. Here is chance for them to get something going with Sam Franco coming on. In the meantime, Latham shooting, looking for the top corner. Trying to curl it. And so Sam Franco had to come on here, and former Glen Ira Jr. Now on for this Continent's Club of the Century.
South Melbourne just looking to shuffle the pack, but Jamie Latham, as it was pointed out to him, had other options going alongside him. It opened up momentarily, and he decided to take it on, having been the only goal scorer of this first half. From a Dandenong City perspective, you don't mind him taking it on, although he did have Bauer advancing. He had Atiyu who had broken away as well.
Latham. Sent in from Jackson Leno towards Athiu. Wait for a throw. Miles is the player off, by the way, for South Melbourne.
So with that, and George Mells coming off, someone who dictated proceedings early in that first half, you get the sense that South Melbourne are going to look to shift their tact in the second half. It might not be as pretty as it was, certainly in that opening quarter of an hour, but the football they play now will probably be looking to be most effective and efficient in trying to hit Dandenong City hard in the channels, in those inside pockets where they found some joy, and trying to find themselves level that way.
Brennan flicks on. Kim leading it from Marin. From the South Melbourne point of view, they just have to score. To them, it won't matter how they do it. They have to at least get themselves level and go from there. And that is rather stating the obvious, but that is the prospect that South Melbourne are faced with. Just got to find a way to get back on level terms.
It is easier said than done. Certainly with the way that Dandenong City have defended and the shape that they're taking up, they dropped back into that 4-4-2 just to start this second half when it comes to that defensive shape. So looking to just settle and make the most compact defensive structure. With a lead to defend now, they don't need to be as dynamic.
Thank you. Bernarda to flick it on. Sort of smash it away. You didn't get the rub of the green. Foul. Quick decision from Quartermain with Will Bauer fouled.
It's just a late lunge by O'Sullivan. He doesn't get to the ball first, understands that Bauer will be looking to break away and charge down the line. Tried to hold him up, but had to take him down in the end.
Free kick's coming towards Nathan Hancock. Got something on it. Did Harvey Lopez prevent the corner? He did not. Goal kick the call, in fact. South Melbourne getting that decision. O'Sullivan has it. Trying to shape the ball forward. Bernarda controlled it well. Trying to lift it. Interesting back flick from Lino, who was picked up by those behind him. To the byline they went. The cross to the back post was spectacular. And it is a South Melbourne leveller. What a cross it was to get the ball to the back post. Skopoulos was involved. Brennan was there at the back stick. It's 1-1.
Brilliant ball from Skopoulos, who's looked lively since coming on. Instead of fizzing it across like we saw in the first half, he just stands it up, says to Andy Brennan, go and meet it. And he times his leap to perfection, times the run perfectly. And there is nothing that Marham can do about it. That's the start to the second half that South Melbourne needed. And what a cracking cup tie we have on our hands here now.
Skopoulos prodding the ball away and out of play. Tell you what, if you've got other plans after this, might well be time to think about perhaps altering some of those reservations. We seem set up for a long night here from Frank Holohan. Pope did well to keep hold of that. On for Bernarda. Well, Bernarda checking infield, shooting, and almost finding the bottom corner. And now South Melbourne with a head of steam.
Nearly a bit of Bernarda brilliance, wasn't it? Checked his way back inside, twisted and turned his way out of a Dandenong City tangle. Just doesn't get enough round it to wrap it into that far corner. Marham well and truly beaten. But South Melbourne, it's like a switch has flicked at half-time. This side a night and day from the one that Dandenong City took the lead against, and now they have all the momentum.
And Brennan, the goal scorer, to lift it forwards, not his best. Just shows what a goal can do too in a game of football. Ball comes from Giannakopoulos, almost left it short for Hancock. He did well to make the best of it. Forward for Kenny Athieu. He's towards the edge of the box. What a sprawling challenge by Jordan Lampard to stop him.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial from Jordan Lampard, not just to make the challenge, but to time it perfectly, because Athieu was bearing down on goal. And as you mentioned, the difference a goal makes, it's made a difference for Dandenong City as well, who started this second half a bit slower. Giannakopoulos nearly selling a ball short. It works out for them, and having got a stroke of fortune since conceding, they now get the chance to go back ahead.
Cuba again to send it in. It's a dangerous delivery. And what an opportunity it was for Tom Giannakopoulos. As good as a free header, and he misjudged it.
Might be harsh on Giannakopoulos, but he has to do better with that, at least turn it on target. He does well to make the run, he times it perfectly, loses his marker. The ball is hit with a lot of pace. To the fact that he doesn't know a lot about it, he can't readjust himself in time. But that is a golden chance for Dandenong City to go back ahead.
Heidelberg have now found a second against Northcote City. And they're 9/10 of the way there, Heidelberg. Nonnaroding City are all the way there. It's the Australia Cup round of 32. One game fully decided. One game nearly decided. And then a third, which we have no real idea as to what's going to happen next. That's cup football for you. Plants trying to move down the right. He was fouled in the process.
I think any of them could have been a free kick for Brad Plant. Did well to wriggle his way out of that room, but all three of the cup ties tonight throwing up something different. This one, as it was last time, the one with an uncertain outcome. There's never a shortage of dull football at Frank Holohan.
Corey Sewell with the free kick towards the edge of the box. Down well by Athieu. Forward cut out though. Pope. Leach to the right hand side. That one. It's an attempted switch towards Skopoulos. Marko Jankovic. It's on by Pope. Leach arriving and had it taken off his toes by Danny Kim. What a telling involvement that might prove to be.
How important from Danny Kim as Leach was looking to unleash a volley. And then he keeps his composure in the corner just to clip it down the line. They don't keep it, but a very important couple of touches to prevent South Melbourne from turning this game on its head.
Brennan with a brilliant first-time flick. Skopoulos in again first time. Helped away by Hancock. Jankovic playing that one across. Where was this South Melbourne team in the first half? It's in towards Pope. He was out-jumped. Leach, the first touch into the box. Hancock's clearance blocked. Well charged down by Leach. South Melbourne winning every second ball. Lampard to try and sweep it in. Blocked by Diego Cuba. And now it's Dandenong City backs against the wall. A mirror image of what we saw in the first half. Lampard in high. Towards the middle, down towards Pope. Kim in there again. Brennan for Franco. And Brennan again. With the ball taken away from him. And smartly so by Diego Cuba. He was looking forward. Plants. Too much on the touch. Lampard back to his keeper. And South Melbourne to reload again. And under pressure from Pope. Leach. Skopoulos in space. He was the architect for the equalizer. Lampard, a nice 1-2 between he and Skopoulos. It was intended for Pope, the ball forward, but didn't get there. Plants. Down the line. Anything acrobatic to get something on it, but couldn't give Athieu something to run after.
This game started at 100 miles an hour. It's approaching 150 now. South Melbourne have completely switched gears. Dandenong City just trying to match the intensity in their defensive output at the moment. This is becoming a frantic, a more free-flowing game of football. What a fabulous cup tie this is turning into. South Melbourne in this second half, already with their equaliser, are certainly looking the more likely. Skopoulos seems to have injected new life down that left-hand side.
If you're arguing that this game is now 150 miles an hour, Ethan, Dandenong City are going those 150 miles per hour by backpedaling. South Melbourne were propelling themselves forward, and Dandenong City withstood all the pressure in the first half and Have to do it again. Ball forwards. Won't help too much.
And that's the frustration of it from Dandenong City, and not so much the panic, but just the understanding that you're on the back foot. It can lead to the need to find a quick fix, and that's what that ball was, trying to loft it into the channel with Lampard, who was retreating, was always in pole position to win that ball back. It is just Dandenong City trying to gain some territory, having been defending for so long.
Sent forward by Leach. Bernarda might well be in behind. Noel Bernarda across Jackson Leno and stopped by Matt Marum. You would have expected the net to bulge. It did not. Good work by both Jackson Leno and Matt Marum to ensure it didn't happen.
Superb goalkeeping from Marum to come off his line. You would back Bernarda all day to score, but Jackson Leno actually does very well to just put him off enough without fouling him, makes enough contact just to get Bernarda off balance and make sure that he can't roll that ball where he wants. He closes the angle too and allows Marum to smother and make a very, very calm save.
Brad Plants want to make it 3-3 against South. He's off. Yaqub Mustafa to replace him. Played forward by Corey Sewell. Yaqub Mustafa scored the first goal of his cup run for Dandenong City. A penalty in the 4th round against State League side Sydenham Park. As Brennan moves away, has Bernarda to his right and Pope to his left. Goes to the former. Leno again with another crucial involvement.
Couple of big moments for Jackson Leno, and he got both of them timed to perfection. He got them both right. As Bernarda maybe just wanted it a bit further towards his right than Brennan gave it to him. He just shifted it inside a touch and it allowed Leno to make that lunge. But South Melbourne opening up that right-hand side of Dandenong City. Brennan making some driving runs. He's really come well into this game since scoring.
Lampards. Marum with the fair catch call that you might see in Gridiron. Called it early, claimed it. As Valley Chesnick is lumbering up to come on here. Will Bauer is the player to be taken off in a moment. 13 on for 23.
I like these two moves. To bring on Mustafa and then to go for Chesnick. It's a fresh injection of pace out wide. Mustafa, player of great trickery. When he came on against Brunswick City in the last round, completely flipped the momentum in Dandenong City's favour, was a big part of them getting an equaliser, both late on and in extra time. And to bring on Chesnick, a player who is of immense quality, shows that Dandenong City are going for the win.
Outside his area to send that one away. George Lambadaridis, by the way, will be coming on too here. Number 25. Bernarda. Passing with Kenny Athieu. Athieu took it off him, but didn't keep the ball for long. Diego Cuba will be play coming off for George Lambadaridis. As Pope finds Skopoulos. Immediately he looks north for south. He's shown to the byline. It's back now for Lampard. Away from Mustafa, he sends it in. Cuba diving to get ahead to it. One of his final acts of the night. He's about to exit stage left. So Cuba and Bauer to come off. Chesnick and Lambadaridis to come on. Chesnick, player with a lot of attacking intent. Lambadaridis less so. Just as important as Dandenong City look to shore up the midfield. If there's a change in the midfield you feel they need.
I think Diego Cuba being the player to come off is important as well. Someone who's on a yellow from that first half. It's the understanding that this game is going to get more physical. It's going to get more fast-paced. You can't afford someone who's on a yellow to be caught out and to make that late lunge. So it's an insurance substitution as well as freshening it up with Lambadaridis, someone who can certainly take control of the game, and Dandenong City need to do that as South Melbourne continue to push.
In fairness to Diego Cuba, he was booked rather early in this game, and he didn't look like getting a second yellow as it was progressing. He managed the game quite well. That one sent forward towards Bernarda. Jackson Lino, rather acrobatic to help it away. Brennan from distance. And that's onto the roof of the Filipovic stand, which is something you don't see all too often and speaks to how high the shot travelled.
Got well and truly under it, Andy Brennan, but Lino's clearance there creates the chance. He could have gone back to Marum with a diving header, chose to go the acrobatic clearance, cleared it into a dangerous area. Fortunate that South Melbourne couldn't capitalise on it, but it's those little moments now where you'll have a split second for it to open up. It's one of those clearances that you get the feeling could count as this game drags on, as any mistake will be punished.
Skopoulos going over. That ball hadn't gone out to play. Skopoulos and away by Hancock. Lampard will watch that one go. Campbell Dovison will make an introduction here for South Melbourne for Andy Brennan. So one attacking player off and another one on to replace him.
You feel now that Bernarda will go through the middle as Brennan makes way. Had a good second half, Andy Brennan got the equaliser, looked lively. Might be another case for South Melbourne of trying to inject a fresh pair of legs, trying to inject some more trickery and pace into their attack, and to open up those spaces for Bernarda to get another couple of chances, as he's already had a few looks in this second half.
Campbell Dovison on, a relative footballing youngster, turned 19 in January. Former Australia under-17 international, and also spent time in the youth academies of the Central Coast Mariners and Melbourne City. So a fair footballing pedigree for him. He's on the ball here. Campbell Dovison. Can he make an instant impact? He almost did. Marum turning it around the post. And what a storybook introduction that would have been for Campbell Dovison off the bench.
Dovison just danced his way through, didn't he? He got the shot away and he made it awkward for Marum to save it. Dipped and bounced just before the keeper could get a touch on it. It's a good save in the end. But that's exactly what South Melbourne would have needed, that pace, that quick turn of feet to get the shot away. And it gives them a chance to load in the box from another corner.
Bit of jostling going on in the 6-yard box. Corners be sent in. To the middle, Marum couldn't get there, and he needed help from Hancock. Away off the line. As close as South Melbourne have come to going in front for the first time, with Marum beat and Hancock wasn't.
Might be the first mistake that Marum's made tonight. He came and he didn't get there. It's headed towards goal. Hancock with the crucialest of touches to preserve parity. They'll load in again.
O'Sullivan with another corner. Says set piece is the favourite part of his game. That one didn't clear the front post. Lampard back for Ethan O'Sullivan, who tried to dig out the cross. Leach in the box. Tried the nice turn on Chesnick, who was aware to the potential danger. He sent it forwards. And Francu will go all the way back. Dovison here on the south right. Forward towards Pope, who was watched by Giannakopoulos. South Melbourne look the more likely right about now to find a winner. Skopoulos drives to the byline, got in the cross. Was he fouled as he released the ball? He was. Yellow card, Corey Sewell.
It's very late from Corey Sewell. Skopoulos looked to take him down the line again, beat him for pace. And as he went to clip the ball in, Sewell lunged in, the ball was gone, and he made contact. Another one that's a stonewall yellow. And considering that South Melbourne have saturated their attacks down the left-hand side with Skopoulos, you would expect him to see more action now that Sewell is in the book. And it gives them a free kick in a very, very promising position.
Edges. Jamie, hey, switch on now. Switch on. Communicate.
So just under 17 minutes to go in the 90. Well, locked at 1-1. South Melbourne with a much better second half showing than what they've provided in the first. Ethan O'Sullivan standing over the dead ball, adjacent to the byline. Can he help write the headline? Right-footed, into the middle, to the back post. The first head was a Dandenong City one. Taken down at the edge of the box, Lampard behind for the goal kick.
Good crowding out from Dandenong City. The second that ball is cleared at the back post, Atiyu is the first one out to meet Jordan Lampard, who, if he was going to get a clean shot away, might have had to go first time. Atiyu closed him down with terrific pace. But for South Melbourne, it's another set-piece chance to lay siege to Dandenong City. And as this game ticks on, they will become all the more important.
We're into second half stoppage time at John Cain Memorial Park. Heidelberg still leading by 2-0, so you can probably put that one in the book. This one, not so much. Yanakopoulos. Taken down out of the sky by Leach. And throw on by Chesnick. Latham. Central. Mustafa going over. Foul by Franco.
Mustafa does well. Gets himself between Franco and the ball, and not only giving them a free kick in a good position, it provides Dandenong City with just a bit of respite. They've been doing a lot of defending. It's clever from Corey Sewell as well in the meantime to take that throw in quickly. Can they find themselves a way back in front from this free kick?
It's a 3-man wall for South Melbourne. Standing face to face with Jamie Latham, who is over the ball. It's right-footed towards the back post. Close to Kenny Atiyu, who couldn't quite get there. He wasn't far off it.
It's just a touch ahead of Atiyu. It's a teasing ball in from Latham. Has a lovely late whip on it. Almost curls it directly into the path of Kenny Atiyu, who's just gone. A fraction too late to try and meet it. He had to, though. For Dandenong City, a big chance to get a look at Javi Lopez. Well, they've been scarce in this second half. And for South Melbourne, they ride out what would have been a bit of a nervy situation.
Right to see Tim Atherinos for Dandenong City. Free kick here for South Melbourne. Atherinos, a man who made his Australia Cup debut. He was a member of the Melbourne Victory in his time there. Lost the game 3-2 against the Newcastle Jets in an all A-League men affair. And he will come on. Dandenong City will have aspirations of facing an A-League men opponent in the next round of this cup competition. Lampard for South Melbourne. Nodded away, but O'Sullivan wanted to return it, was blocked. Leach forward, Pope giving chase, Marum there first. And he had to be.
Certainly did. He had not just Pope, but Bernardo as well, who was lurking, just waiting on that spillage, waiting to see if he would come to claim it or not. And Marum did brilliantly to take it and take it cleanly.
Chesnick stealing ahead of Skopoulos, who got a foot in. Leach taking over from Franco. Immediately looking forwards. Dovison. Battle between he and Jackson Leno emerging on that right-hand side for South. Crossing from deep. Maram should claim and does. It'll be Atherinos for Athiu. And King Kenny won't be the one called upon to repeat his copper heroics from the previous round unless he can do it in the time before he's taken off. And he was involved in the copper heroics, wasn't he, Ethan? Last time Dandenong City played in this competition.
Scored a last-minute penalty. Kenny Athiu to send the game to extra time, and then in the shootout as well, held his nerve to take first, and is a big part of why they are in this round.
Looks forwards. Mustafa. Get back on the half turn. Sewell was telegraphed by Skopoulos, who couldn't take it for good. Athiu, did that strike an arm? Answer is yes. Ethan O'Sullivan protesting, and so too Dandenong City faithful wanting a yellow card for the young South fullback, but nothing doing.
It's not a lot O'Sullivan can do about that. He doesn't know anything about it. It's unfortunate for him that it strikes his arm on its way down. It's an easy decision for the referee.
Latham to swing it in. Athiu in the box. Couldn't quite provide the telling touch. He always looks a goal threat, Kenny Athiu, anytime he's around the football. And that's what Dandenong City are trading away by taking him off, but in the play they've got coming on in Tim Atherinos, they have a player who can make things happen, and Nick Tollius and co will be hoping that he does in this crucial cup clash.
Player of immense talent and trickery, Atherinos. And you can tell in this last 10 minutes and stoppage time they're looking for an impact to try and win this game inside 90. Having had the nerves of a shootout in the last round, I'm sure Dandenong City, the coaching staff and the faithful will be looking to avoid a similar outcome this time round.
Bernarda. Down the inside left channel, Skopoulos to send it into the box. Couldn't find anyone in navy blue. Mustafa with a great first time touch for Latham. Sent forward. Chance could be now for Tim Atherinos. Mustafa trying to get him behind. And the ex-South Melbourne man didn't see the ball go through for him. And he made 10 league appearances for South back in 2023, Yagoub Mustafa. Skopoulos had it taken away. Chesnick with it back. Latham towards Mustafa. And South Melbourne to keep it.
A couple of protests on the Dandenong City bench. But they wanted a free kick. They want a retrospective card for that drag back on the break. But it nearly worked out so wonderfully in their favour. Atherinos, we said he'd make things happen. He got inventive and it nearly came off.
Hope to try and guide it central. Maram was the only player with a chance to make a play at the ball. Latham. To the left-hand side, Atherinos towards Yagoub Mustafa. Lopez there. South Melbourne with an injury issue here by the looks. Pope trying to get the lower body warm with a few stretches. Treatment has gone over to him. You'd be thinking that Dandenong City will be clamouring for his short-term withdrawal, given that.
Looks like it might be a bit of cramp for Pope. It doesn't look anything too serious. He's getting tended to. But on a crisp and cold night, you even stop for a second, that lactic acid sets in. Dandenong City will have a momentary numerical advantage, and Pope, who's had a very tidy second half, he's been able to break up a lot of play. He's looked good when South Melbourne have gone forward. So maybe the fact that he's just starting to cramp up could be City's time to look to overload that midfield area and try and take control of these last 7 or 8 minutes.
And that's how far away we are from the prospects of extra time. Of course, added time will go on to that. It's a free kick coming here for South Melbourne.
Late barge by Mustafa as Jankovic went to clear it.
Jankovic towards Bernardo. Screwed high by Marum. Controlled well. Latham. Eventually got it forward. Atherinos with space in which to move. Quickly closed down by Lucas Inglese. It's sent in Mustafa! Couldn't get a toe on it. It's a game of inches, and Dandenong City were inches away.
Golden chance for Mustafa. Latham does wonderfully to keep it alive. Gives Atherinos room to work in. It's a terrific ball across the face. It says to Mustafa, just go and tap me in. And he doesn't get enough contact. His body's in the way. But take the sting out of it for Lopez.
Ball sent in. Acrobatic from Jack Pope. And it's safe to say that one won't be going near the highlight reel.
Seems to be feeling all right, though.
For Dandenong City. Marshall. It's flicked on by Bernardo. Reno knew exactly where Campbell Doverson was. He helps Marum through that. Less than 5 to play in the 90. How do we feel about the prospect of some extra football, Ethan?
Had it last time in the Cup. No stranger to extra time at this ground. It's had drama in abundance. And it just feels like it might be one of those nights where we could see some more.
South Melbourne were destined for it in the last round against Pascoe Vale before Jordan Lampard's goal. We were destined for it when these two teams last played in the Cup 8 years ago, before Milos Lulic had the final say, completing his hat-trick in the 97th minute. Are we set for similar drama?
Couldn't happen again, could it?
Oh, it can. Whether it will is a different story. Out of play for a South Melbourne throw. All involved have just got to hold it together. In the last couple of minutes, is this the chance? Prodded towards goal, and somehow Pope was denied.
Brilliant save by Marum. He got down low. It travels through bodies. He doesn't see it. Pope just gave it a stab. Nearly christened South Melbourne with the lead again, but Marum got down in the nick of time to tip it away for a corner.
And against Pope, Marum wasn't about to make the cardinal sin and let that one get through him. Corner ball for South Melbourne. Right-footed, swung in. Up early was Jankovic, and again it's sent away from the goal mouth. Bernardo trying to reload. South Melbourne wants to win it again late in normal time here.
And again Marum got a touch onto the post. Pure reflex, knew nothing about it. Two unbelievable saves from the Dandenong City keeper.
Thrown into the box. A great first time touch. It's across the face of goal. And behind for a corner. Jankovic with the first time ball. Inglese involved too. And we will have another corner.
Great touch from Jankovic to open up that angle for Nglesi. And it's a crucial touch from Dandenong City to turn it wide for a corner in, as that was looking to find the bottom corner of the net.
O'Sullivan to send in. It's headed on and headed wide. Jankovic getting ahead to that. He's got 2 goals in this cup run so far. Couldn't quite add a third there. Pope, options left and right, look right. Campbell Dovison moves in field, shoots, and forces a rather easy save from Matt Marum.
He created more time for himself than he thought. Dovison, he sat Giannakopoulos down, and he thought he would have had the angle closed to take the shot on, but it just opened up too much for him. If he takes one more touch, he can really wrap that. It's Hancock for that pull. We'll go into the book for his troubles.
We're into the 90th minute of 90. Any goal-scoring action, if it is to happen in this period of the game, will have to happen late. Kim towards Atherinos and into touch by Lucas Nglesi. Only 3 added minutes to come at the end of the second half. 180 seconds away from the prospects of another 30 minutes. Mustafa getting himself inside and outside of trouble. Lino, was he pulled back? Answers no. Fair to say the Dandenong City bench disagree. Caught on it there, Giannakopoulos. Maybe a chance for South Melbourne. Leach at the edge of the box. He went over. He wasn't fouled. And we're into those 3 added minutes.
Both sets of benches absolutely incensed by those 2 decisions, one at either end. How would it go down if South Melbourne were to find something from this?
Could you ask for anything more for a Tuesday night in the southeast of Melbourne? O'Sullivan to send it long. Jumping up Jankovic. And Dandenong City with a chance here to break maybe. Latham with Atherinos to his left. Out of play by Campbell Dovison. Hancock. Chesnick. Right-footed, blocked, and behind by Jordan Lampard. Maybe Dandenong City could win it.
You never know, do you? Chances at both ends. And for South Melbourne, who in this second half have had the better share of the chances, Dandenong City have an opportunity very late on to land a telling blow. You had a late winner on Monday night, Ollie. Could we be in for another one?
Fair drama in Bundura with Yusuf Ahmed's late goal yesterday. Are we in for a late one here too? Jamie Latham, who had an important kick of the football in the first half to fire Dandenong City in front. An assist would be rendered even more important than that, you would think, if something was to come from his corner. Right footed to the back post, flicked on, off the bar, and out! Hancock with the header, it didn't cross the line! They thought it was all over! Nathan Hancock almost won it! Lampadarides. Pope went over. That might be that. Yellow card, Timothy Atherinos. Dare I ask what you thought of all that? Full time before we can get a response. And anyone with anything to do, any reservations to be made in the next 30 minutes will be rendered MIA from those. We've got more football on the way from the southeast of Melbourne. Andy Brennan's equaliser now means that we go on. 90 minutes not enough. Will 120 be enough? Time to find out, I suppose. 90 minutes done. Here from Frank Hahn. One apiece it is. And Ethan, how close were they to winning it? Centimetres.
Desperately close. You saw the appeals from the benches, you heard the noise, they all thought it was in. It crashes against the bar. It is desperately unlucky from a Dandenong City point of view. For South Melbourne, it was heart in mouths moments. They stay alive for now. And once again at Frank Hahn, as we did in the last round, merely a matter of weeks ago, we're headed for extra time.
Can I make myself the most unpopular man in Endeavour Hills? I don't think that was in. I personally don't think that was in. Although I don't have the best view of it, it must be said. And I am not the person to ask if you want a definitive answer. First glance to me, didn't look like it. I might be proven wrong, but then again, the decision stands. Stopping up for a reason. We are set for more football. We'll be back with you shortly for extra time. Welcome back. How does another 30 minutes of football sound? And that might not even be enough. Not everyone's happy with it, but alas, regardless of what people wanted or hoped for, that is what we are faced with. Goals in the first half to Jamie Latham and the second to Andy Brennan means that we are all tied up. We thank you ever so much for your company, and we hope you'll keep it till the very last. Oliver Walker-Peel and Ethan Rigg here with you for extra time in round 7 of the Dockerty Cup here in Victoria, with a passage to the Australia Cup on the line. Buckle up, Ethan Rigg.
There is never a dull minute at this ground, certainly not in the Dockerty Cup this season. We have yet just another sprinkle, just another taste of the tapestry of drama that this cup has offered up this season. Once again we head for another 30. Dare I say, after that we head for another shootout. How are the nerves in the Dandenong City camp? 2 in a row at extra time. For South Melbourne, they will be buoyant, having got to this position when it was looking oh so bleak at half-time.
Turn around the corner. Duberson receiving from Bernardo. He's inside the box, rolling it across to the back post. And then able to get Escapoulas behind for a goal kick. I was about to make the point that you've seen this story before in terms of extra time and Dandenong City. You saw penalties here that night after Brunswick City took the lead through Dylan Allshawn. Were then pegged back Kenny Athieu, of course, with the late equaliser in normal time, and Jack Webster with the equaliser then in extra time before they won on penalties. 4-3 that night, Dandenong City. Brunswick City that night were pegged back multiple times. Dandenong City with the team pegged back tonight. Different, but the same.
It's a script I know all too well. We had it last time. We had a cup classic. We are in the midst of yet another right now. Dandenong City in the first half through the kitchen sink at South Melbourne, who did the same in turn in the second 45. They're never shy of a goal in extra time here either. Are we about to see something similar? Both teams will need something similar if they are to avoid the pressure, the peril, the cruelty and the absolute elation that can only come with a penalty shootout.
Worth a mention too that South Melbourne have gone to extra time once in this cup run previous. They were taken there by Bentley. They won 2-1 after it finished 1-1 at the end of the 90. So they've seen a similar story before. Is it the same result on the way? Skopoulos twisting himself into trouble, fouling his man, advantage played. Atherinos will get after that and keep it alive. Mustafa sees it away from him and affected the clearance. And the ball down the line all the same, out of play for a throw.
He had the chance to slide Atherinos back in. Did Mustafa. Chose to try and turn his way and fashion a yard for himself down the line to cut it back. Those are the precious moments that Dandenong City can't afford to let go to waste.
Lino, Mustafa was in an offside position, and Charlie Leach will be ordered to play that one back to the site of the infraction. Who will be the hero tonight? Bernarda over towards the left-hand side. Skopoulos was offside, despite his verbal disagreement.
Just went a fraction too early. Skopoulos, it's a great ball from Bernarda to find him. We talk about the game being decided by a matter of inches, by a matter of millimetres. Neither side giving any of those at the moment.
Marum. Mustafa. Glace to play it away. It's Lucas Inglese for those that might not have been following South Melbourne since the end of last year. He and his brother Christian were both involved last year. Well, Christian has since moved on to Kingston City in VPL 1, the second tier of Victorian football. One set high towards Mustafa. Getting a foot in there, Marko Jankovic. Great first touch. Skopoulos. Bernarda heading towards the box. Leach flares it out wide. Dobson, bit impressive. Looks central. It's nodded down. Leach couldn't keep hold. Dandenong City away. Ball arcs forward towards Mustafa. He was covered off. He played Lucas Inglese. Atherinos. He skips away from O'Sullivan. And Badaridis. Chesnick, former Port Melbourne Shark, once had a 4-goal game in Dandenong, a league game against the Thunder a couple of years back now. That won't be required of him tonight. 1. Dandenong City feel will do just the trick. Kim looking over the top. Lino and Mustafa looking at it, neither able to get there. Javi Lopez first to it. Mustafa giving it away and setting South Melbourne away. He then won it back off Charlie Leach, and he did it well. Lino. Back for you, good Mustafa. Former Perth Glory man. He won A-League men's appearance for them a few years back now. In the game against the Central Coast. That last off the shin of George Lambadarides, and it's a South Melbourne throw. We've now moved past 7 minutes in this first half of extra time, approaching the halfway point of the half.
And he had Atherinos going for him. Lambadarides, he could have tried to just fashion a ball through. As Pope goes down with cramp once again. So they had the extra time and the break between full time and the start of extra time to make that change. Pope's night looks to be done, and South Melbourne are looking to make a change.
They are. Morgan Evans has come on. There was questions being asked of whether South Melbourne had another opportunity to use a sub. They feel as though they do. And now with Morgan Evans on, they have no more alterations to make. What you see is what you get. Morgan Evans, slightly more defensively minded than Jack Pope, can play in midfield and also as a fullback. Made his league debut for South Melbourne back in 2021 in a game against the Magic. It's his fourth appearance of the Cup run.
Having started at such a high intensity and having been played the prior 90 in the same vein, this extra time has just gone into its cage a little bit. You can feel the occasion and you can feel the pressure and the weight of what's at stake now on both of these sides a little bit. Chances have been harder to come by. Will it take a moment of genius to unlock this game once again?
Good play by Latham initially, but couldn't keep the ball at his command. Chesnick and Francu battling. Bobbled through. Yagoub Mustafa inside the D. Left it for Lambadarides. Parried by Harvey Lopez. Maybe the best chance of extra time so far. Atherinos outside of the foot will get it back. Helps it on. Jackson Lino into the middle. He was offside regardless.
Great play from Dandenong City to fashion that chance from Mustafa. We talked about a moment of brilliance. It was nearly him, then it was nearly Lambadarides. Javi Lopez able to beat it away. Jackson Lino, had he been onside, he just flashed that ball across the face instead of taking a second to look up and try and guide it. And those are the moments that will matter the most. Of course, if the flag stays down. But for Dandenong City at the moment, that's been their best chance in extra time. For South Melbourne, they are in need of fashioning something just to wrestle back a bit of momentum.
Lambadarides won. Although powerful, it was at a rather savable height and a savable direction, being straight at the goalkeeper. Lopez able to make the save, but he is being tested. Chesnick with strength. And enough of it to help the ball out of play against Andres Skopoulos. Man who split his time last year with the Oakley Cannons under-23s and Malvern City in State League 1. This is a slightly grander stage with no disrespect intended than both of those two destinations right now. Lambadarides forward. Mustafa to track it down. Lampard opposing him. He went with a step over. A left-footed ball to the back post. Latham ghosting in. Couldn't quite get there. O'Sullivan with a crucial touch to turn it behind.
Did well, O'Sullivan. Didn't take any chances. Did the right thing to flick it behind for a corner. That's wonderful play by Mustafa to trick his way and work a yard to whip that ball into the back post. Latham was lurking, so O'Sullivan had to get the touch. Dandenong City corner.
Sent into the middle and headed away as far as Danny Kim. We'll recycle it. It's sent high to the back post towards Lambadarides. Lopez got the punch away. Atherinos pulled back. Noel Bernardo booked. And this free kick is in about as dangerous a position as you can plot a football on the pitch.
If you were Dandenong City and you wanted a free kick, this is where it would be from. Good play from Atherinos to jink his way inside. Drew the challenge from Bernardo, who had to bring him down before he fired a shot in at Javi Lopez, who wasn't quite set. And it gives Dandenong City now an opportunity to put some serious pressure, to ask some serious questions of Javi Lopez in the South Melbourne goal.
2 goals this season in the league for George Lambadarides. Once of the Brisbane Roar, former under-20 international with Australia. He knows what it's like to play in big games. Can he serve up a big moment here? Miku Mustafa also close by and in the reckoning to take this. Lambadarides looking to go low. Might get a second look at it. Sent it in, but that wasn't going to test Javi Lopez without a divergence towards goal. As, fair to say, Tim Atherinos saw his name in the headlines, but rather looked like a deer in the headlights as he sent that one well wide.
Atherinos would like that one back, wouldn't he? But from Lambadarides, the free kick, you've got to get it up and under. Really challenge Javi Lopez, make him scramble. The second ball is fizzed back in hope, and then you see Dandenong City keep it alive, but the chance is almost gone, as it's another opportunity in the 15 minutes that so far has not been full of them.
It looks rather wasteful to the eye, but I don't mind the idea of going low under the wall. It's not the idea that you probably first think of, and if that South Melbourne wall had jumped a little bit higher, maybe Javi Lopez is called into question. Alas, it was a free kick that struck the wall, and at its purest form, that's never really great, particularly where the free kick was. Sometimes you can boil it down to its simplest form. Mustafa to flick it on. Lopez just inside his penalty area. We're about to move into added time at the end of the first half of extra time. Still at 1-1 as we were at the end of the 90. Hancock played it and was fouled in the process. Yellow card brought out. That one going the way of Charlie Leach.
Another Stonewall yellow card. They're both going for the ball, but he catches him high. That's where the referee takes issue with it. It is high up. As we enter 1 minute of stoppage time at the end of the first half of extra time.
Free kick from Marum. Atherinos letting it run. Looking short for support. Latham twisting, turning, slipping. Regaining his footing and finding Atherinos. Hancock. Once on South Melbourne's books. Can he help create a turn-up for the books? Right-footed towards Miku Mustafa, who once more was not far away.
Searching ball from Hancock. It's a terrific delivery for the final knocking of the first half of extra time. Mustafa is not a million miles away. He just can't get a meaningful touch to divert it towards goal. And it's another chance missed for Dandenong City on the stroke of half-time. A difficult one, albeit at that. But as the deadlock remains broken, Ollie, we have 15 more minutes.
We do. And we are 15 minutes away from the prospect of spot kicks. Half-time, in extra time, it's one apiece, as it was at the end of the 90. The one element for South Melbourne, sometimes you see coaches think about penalties and make some changes in order to do that, both with outfielders and potentially with their goalkeepers. South Melbourne won't have the chance. They've exhausted all of their avenues to change and make changes. Will that play into it?
I think it leaves a couple of cards in Dandenong City's deck, doesn't it? With South Melbourne, those in white now will understand who the strong takers are, where the misses are likely to come from, and they can't alter them to bring on any additional firepower from the bench. They have to rely on those who are out there to step up, whereas for Dandenong City, they have the chance to bring on some penalty kick specialists if the time nears that.
Matt Marum was the hero in the last round. There was the option for him to be switched out against Brunswick City. He wasn't. I wonder if there's a show of faith from Nick Toleras coming if we get to penalties, saying, you got us here. There is Piers Clark on the bench for Dandenong City, who is not a goalkeeper to be sniffed at. So that's maybe one byproduct of this that we might have to look at should these next 15 minutes not contain a goal.
I think they'll stick with him, considering his heroics in the last round and considering that he has the understanding and the experience of the pressure this season. Piers Clark is a quality keeper, but like you said, with Marum having got them there and having been so important in the shootout in the last round, you get the feeling that Dandenong City will stick with him, should it come to it.
We're away again. Second half of extra time. 15 minutes for a hero in open play, or we will need one from the spot. Dobson off after this. Of course, Milos Lic had a penalty in his hat-trick. It might be a different kind of penalties that we need to decide between these two. Free kick for South Melbourne.
Dandenong City did score in that second period of extra time in the last round. It was from an opportunity that they fashioned from themselves, from situations similar to this. Could South Melbourne pose a couple of questions?
Of course, the state of the game was different to that point. They were trailing. Second half of extra time then, not tonight. As it's sent in, flicked on by Inglese. Skapoulis had the whites in his eyes widen, but he couldn't get there at the back post. Chesnick, Mustafa, and back for Valley Chesnick. Gave it to Marko Jankovic. And then took it off Charlie Leach. Chesnick, moving away from South's number 88. Mustafa again. Kadarides. Good Mustafa. Chesnick was making the offering down the inside right channel and wasn't used. Mustafa. You could near on hear a pin drop in that Filipovic stand right about now, speaking to the nerves of people affiliated with both of these two clubs. Latham. Chesnick. Dandenong City trying to work South Melbourne around. Giannakopoulos. Lambadarides shooting from outside the box. And a super block from Lucas Inglese. Franco almost robbed of it. And a free kick for South Melbourne.
It's an important win. An important win from Leach, because Dandenong City were gearing up to go again. And just with that shot that Lambadaridis had, Latham had continued his run. If the ball was on, he could have tried to slide him back in, but Dandenong City building all the pressure in this second half of extra time. South Melbourne just needing a release, and they got exactly what they wanted.
Noble for Dandenong City on the bench, had the bib off, and now has it back on, going for a run. Is he a part of this tale, perhaps? Mustafa tried the flick towards Corey Sewell. Lambadaridis. Mustafa did well not to foul him. Looked to roll it right towards Latham. Eventually rolled it right to Corey Sewell, who got it to Latham. He gave it him back. Sewell a bit sloppy. Leach. With Kim. Hancock forwards. Sewell. Mustafa. Chesnick. Latham. South Melbourne with plenty of numbers back, and they work it forward towards Bernarda. He was stunted by Hancock. Lambadaridis. Timothy Atherinos. Blocked. He's had a couple of moments since coming on. Well controlled by Skopoulos. How well did he do there? Until he gave it away. Chesnick rolling it on towards Mustafa. Too heavy. And through to Harvey Lopez. And the prospect of penalties further loom.
Great idea from Chesnick to find Mustafa. The ball just a little bit too heavy. The finest of margins. Nearly aiding Dandenong City, nearly costing South Melbourne.
Jake Noble will come on here. Jamie Latham, we hear from down below, will be the player withdrawn. Atherinos kept himself onside. Didn't matter in the end. Dovison. Inboard. Evans. Had it momentarily. But for no longer than that. An arm around the shoulder of Jake Noble, who will in fact have a part to play. Mustafa towards Latham, whose final involvement tonight will be to watch that ball run out of play.
Mustafa could have clipped that towards the back post. He had two running for him. I don't mind the idea of trying to split the ball into the channel to get Latham in to deliver a more dangerous and an easier cross, but two options there. It opened up for him just to loop it towards the back post. Maybe get a Dandenong City header, maybe get a corner. But in the end, it's another situation that South Melbourne are able to see out. We spoke about Dandenong City being rigid in that first half defensively. South Melbourne's defensive mettle has well and truly been put to the test at the moment. And so far, it's holding firm.
Jake Noble on, one of his former clubs, Nunawading City, already through to the national rounds. He played there as a junior, and now his current club, hoping to join them there. It's a high ball, allowed to let bounce. Merrill went with his head. Got taken out in the process. Either he or Hancock did. Wasn't that a rush of blood to the head? To use the head? Goodness me. Matt Marum putting his head where most wouldn't even dare put their feet.
And maybe Hancock having his head feel the full force of that. He put it where it hurts, which is where Marum came over the top. To make that contact. And he was the collateral damage underneath. It's a tricky ball from Javi Lopez. It just held up. Invited Bernardo to make that run. Brave keeping, some might say potentially foolish at this stage in the game, but he made first contact, he won the ball. He did the important thing.
I suppose it's not foolish if it doesn't cost you. And it didn't cost Dandenong City there. It's not what I would have done, but there's a reason why I'm not a goalkeeper. And there's a reason why Matt Marum's out there playing for his team on the verge of the national rounds in the Australia Cup and semi-finals in the Dockerty Cup. And Badarides on the volley. Didn't catch it well. Of course, the main prize you would think out of the two is the national rounds, but the semi-finals of the State Knockout Cup is nothing to be sniffed at either. We know that Nunawading are there. We know that Heidelberg are there. One of Avondale and the Dandenong Thunder will be there, and one of these two, of course. Evans towards Bernardo. Chesnick towards Yagoub Mustafa. The header back from Jankovic had enough on it.
Heart in mouths moment for South Melbourne as Jankovic's header importantly had enough on it. But for these two, a spot in the state's most illustrious cup competition over a century of history. That's what these two have the opportunity to add to.
Davison went in early with the cross. Played by Marum. Looks there like he wasn't moving as free as he was at the start of the night, but that's the same for every single player out there, you think. Ball locked down the line. Bernardo there first, ahead of Giannakopoulos. Sent him towards Frank, who's making the run forward. Dobson trying to find him. There's another ball swung in. Too tall for Skopoulos. This will fall kindly for Dandenong City. Sent forward by Saul in hope rather than expectation. Helped on by Lampard. Sorted out by Hancock.
Had to make the challenge as well, Hancock. Really important cutout because Skopoulos was away. If he got a touch once again, that ball from Corey Saul. He saw Mustafa go. Didn't give it a second check on the run, and it's given South Melbourne a late opportunity.
Noble. Outside of the foot. Evans was there. Of course, it's not a surefire thing that this goes to penalties. Davison trying to help ensure that it doesn't. 2.5 minutes in the 120 left. Chesnick. Badarides. Yagoub Mustafa. Furthest forward for Dandenong City. He's rugby tackled to the floor. Lucas Inglese booked. Dandenong City wanting another card for the kicking away of the ball. That one won't be brandished.
Tension palpable in this ground at the moment. A tactical hold-up of the yellow card, but a late free kick.
Kim to the edge of the box in the Hancock direction. He couldn't provide a telling win for his team. And away South Melbourne goes Skopoulos. Away from Noble. And just about inside of Kim. Mustafa was brilliant. Chesnick with the nod down. Corey Sewell further advanced than when he started the game. Mustafa for Noble. First time in. Flicked on. Atherinos couldn't keep hold. Hancock into the back of Bernarda. Clipped high by Lampard. Marum didn't know whether to stay or go. He went and it was the right call.
Defence helped him out. Made it easy for Marum to claim it. Dandenong City bench are not happy that he fell down. They want to win this game. They don't want another shootout.
Chesnick. And now Leach for South Melbourne. We're going to move into 2 added minutes. At the end of this 120, Skopoulos couldn't get the ball either side of Danny Kim. It's on by Atherinos, and then high by Marko Jankovic. We're into the first of those 2. Good challenge by Hancock. And Dandenong City with a throw. Mustafa to flick on, out of play. South Melbourne searching for a 5th national bout in the Australia Cup. Dandenong City after their first. They were cruelly denied of that in 2017 when South Melbourne stopped them. Will that be the story again? Forward by Inglese towards Dovison. Worried off it by Lino. Chested down by Chesnick, who gets it out from underneath his feet. Noble. He'll float it high. It's nodded wide by George Lambadaridis. Take a breath, Ethan. We might need spot kicks. Take a breath. If you're a fan of Dandenong City or South Melbourne and watching on from home, take a breath if you're a neutral. Atherinos towards Lambadaridis. Jumped into there, Giannakopoulos by Bernarda.
This might be it. A last chance for Dandenong City to find a winner.
Sliced high by Morgan Evans. Atherinos. Lambadaridis! We are going to penalties. And with these pens, a chance for a player of Dandenong City or South Melbourne to write themselves into club folklore. 120 minutes was not enough. Penalties will have to be. Full time after extra time, but with the story not written. Dandenong City won, South Melbourne won, and the cruelest way to decide a football match will knock one of these 2 teams out of the Dockerty Cup and the Australia Cup. And now, more than ever, it is a test of nerve.
It is once again for Dandenong City, who find themselves in this position for the 2nd time running in the Cup. For South Melbourne, they're no stranger to a late show. This will be the latest of all of them. The final chapter of another Cup classic between these 2. Who holds their nerve? Who wants to make it their night? It was Dandenong City's last time from the spot at this ground against Brunswick City. for South Melbourne this season. This is uncharted territory.
They went to extra time against Bentley. They won the game in extra time. Dandenong City went to extra time against Brunswick City. They couldn't win it in extra time and needed penalties. The huddle from the Dandenong City staff, players and coaches, bonded together arm in arm. Can that bond help them through to where this club has never been before? And the next question, I suppose, is who goes up? Who takes the spot kicks? Who is brave enough to open themselves up to potential heartache?
The interesting one for Dandenong City, Atayu took first last time. He's no longer on the pitch.
Yes, good point.
Neither is Brad Plant, who also converted from the spot. So 2 successful takers not on for Dandenong City. For South Melbourne, they've already shuffled the pack around as much as they can. This will be the ultimate test of nerve.
And it's looking as though the players lining up on the halfway line, that those in the Filipovic stand will have the best view. He will shoot away to the left, and Yaqub Mustafa will shoot first for Dandenong City. He has scored from the spot in this cup run. Did so against Sydenham Park in round 4. That was the winner that night. It is very, very unlikely, near on impossible, that any kick of the football would be a winner tonight. Everyone else would have to miss, he would have to score. Everyone congregated down away to our left. Yaqub Mustafa, against his former club, mind you, with a chance to set Dandenong City away in the shootout. Mustafa. Saved! First blow, South Melbourne. First blow, Javi Lopez. Marko Jankovic to try and cement the advantage.
It's not a great penalty from Mustafa. It's not hit with enough pace. It's not wrapped right into the corner. Javi Lopez goes the right way. Makes what is a rather difficult save at sometimes look quite easy. And South Melbourne get the first blow. But of course, Dandenong City did miss in the last round and still managed to turn it around. Different scenario this time. It was the second kick, not the first.
Marko Jankovic scored both of his cup goals beyond the 80-minute mark. Can he score from the spot here? Booze ringing at him. He scores. He aimed for the same corner as Yaqub Mustafa, but he was able to pick it out.
Brilliant penalty. Absolutely brilliant penalty. Drilled it hard, drilled it low. The difference between that one and Mustafa's is his is arrowing away from Maram's dive. Mustafa's invited Javi Lopez to come and save it. That's a top penalty from Jankovic.
It is early in the shootout. Vali Chesnik steps up here. If he can't convert, it would present a mountain to climb already. Does he have the mettle, Vali Chesnik? Or will Javi Lopez again make a telling save? Oh, he doesn't need to! Blazed over the bar and into the back of the net, but the one protecting the fans, not the one that would have levelled the shootout. A save and a miss, and Dandenong City are staring down the barrel with Sam Francu to go up next for South Melbourne. What a moment for the young man this could be.
Chesnik with too much power. It's not the penalty this early in the shootout to try and belt it into the net. And there's the example of it. Too much, and Dandenong City now well and truly on the back foot, but the question is, can Frantic compound the task?
Perhaps the biggest moment in his senior career so far, Sam Frantic. He's up to it. 2-0, South Melbourne in the shootout. Tim Atherinos, now you really feel has to score.
You do, don't you? Because that was a superb penalty from Franco. He wraps it round, drills it into the back of the net with immense pace. And Atherinos, if you've ever wanted a pressure spot kick, not to win a shootout, but to keep your team in a shootout, this is it.
Tim Atherinos, the former Melbourne victory man, scores. Dandenong City still with a pulse. And you just knew this man had to be involved in this shootout somehow. Nahuel Bernarda. The former Dandenong Thunder man could drive a dagger into the heart of one of his former club's biggest rival.
Great penalty from Atherinos. But you're right, Bernarda, with a history on the other side of this town, has the opportunity to put South Melbourne on the brink.
Can Matt Marum stand up? Bernarda scores. It was central, but good enough. 3-1. Nathan Hancock.
Great penalty. Just did the keeper for pace, but for Hancock, has to score.
Nathan Hancock sees it saved! And this famous old club, South Melbourne, with another night to write into their history books. They stand up again when it counts, and will be heading to the national rounds of the Australia Cup for a 5th time. And once more, for Dandenong City, at the final hurdle, it is South Melbourne, the thorn in the side. 2017 was cruel. Dandenong City were so close then. They were 4-1 up then. They lost 5-4. This one, given the nature of it, might be just as cruel. Full time here from Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. South Melbourne again are through and will have the bright lights on the national stage shine upon them. Finished 1-1 after 120. South Melbourne winning the shootout 3-1. Ethan Rigg, make sense of that. It's twice you've been here in the cup runs in the past few weeks. Twice we've seen penalties. Dandenong City couldn't win out on this occasion as they did against Brunswick City.
2 cup classics in every sense of it. Heartbreak for Dandenong City, who took this match as deep as they possibly could, took the lead in the game. But South Melbourne were never counted out. South Melbourne never shut themselves out. And in the end, it is Javi Lopez who stands up tallest to become a South Melbourne hero, to write himself into South Melbourne folklore. But once again for Dandenong City, they fall to the oh so most familiar foe. A heartbreaking outcome for Dandenong City tonight. For South Melbourne, it is jubilation, it is ecstasy, as they win the shootout 3-1 at Frank Holohan, as it ended 1-1 at the end of a superb night of Dockerty Cup football.
Listen to the noise, to the celebrations of those in South Navy Blue tonight. They will celebrate this into the night, and they are through once again. even if they're playing poor in the league. Count them out at your peril. From Ethan Rigg and myself, Oliver Walker-Peel, it has been a pleasure to bring this one to you. If you're of a South Melbourne persuasion, feel free to enjoy this. Thank you ever so much for your company across the several hours that we've been here up on the gantry. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now.